which will have you all on board another time. Tutorial, the enthusiastic tutor, and in today's tutorial is to be the revision class for the course INR321. This is one course we have not been able to take any class whatsoever as regards to this course, but in this class, in this revision class today, I'll see how well we can cover a whole lot and touch a whole lot of places, topics, and units and modules. Okay. Now, for those of us who are new to the stream, please ensure to subscribe to the channel. Please ensure to turn on the notification bell. Also, please ensure to use the comment section to make this class an interactive one. Okay. Now, it might interest you to know as well that the keynote of the course INR321 is also ready and available for those of us who haven't gotten it yet. Let's just do well to head straight to our official website, tutorial.net, and find the WhatsApp button in the top right hand corner, and then we can find the WhatsApp button there and use that to send us a direct message, and we'll be happy to hand you over the keynote. Now, as against next semester, for those of us who might be interested in becoming a member of the private class, which I recommend you become a member. But the thing is, this is an opportunity to encourage us, please let's join early. This semester, some departments were unable to take all their courses because they joined late. Okay, so it's always okay to join early. When we join early, we get to take all the courses and go through everything because we have ample time at our disposal. So please let's ensure to join the private class as early as we can so that we don't get to miss out on any important things. Okay, and let's get straight into today's class. Our very first question today will be extracted from what you understand by international. All right, what you understand by foreign policy. That'll be our very first question for tonight. Foreign policy. Okay, just a moment. What you understand by foreign policy. When you hear of the term foreign policy, what comes in mind? Discuss what you understand by foreign policy. Okay, so we have our first question for tonight. Talking about what foreign policy is and coming across questions like this, by now I'm pretty sure you understand very well that you don't get to write just two you don't get to write just two sentences or two paragraphs and you are convinced that you've done well. No. Talking about foreign policy, you want to give a comprehensive and detailed definition of the term. Okay, getting some nice responses already. Awesome. Yes, foreign policy. Okay, let's keep the answers rolling in. Let's keep the answers popping in. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Yemi for show. Thank you very much for that precise definition. Okay, let's keep the answers popping in. Yeah, all right. We all have spoken well. Yes, thank you very much for all your contributions. Now, basically, when we're talking about foreign policy, it can only mean one thing, all right? We can look at it from the angle of an interaction between internal and external forces, all right? These policies deals with how and why nations sets goals, orders its own governmental policy, all right? Its own governmental policy making mechanism, as well as utilizing its own human and natural resources in the international arena, put in place by nations as a result of their interaction in the international space. Now, no country or function in isolation. Now, what do I mean by that? There is no country on the surface of this earth that does not either trade, communicate, or interact with other countries. Just as no human being on earth is self-sufficient. No other country as well is sufficient. All right? Yeah. You can see situations whereby a country cuts off their supply from certain countries, but it's just a matter of time. It could be actually prompted by dispute or conflict, but just a matter of time. Such interaction will be restored, and you can see countries interacting with each other. And because of this interaction between countries, there has to be policies. All right. When we talk about policies, we are talking about standards that needs to be observed. So as a result, these policies exist because of these interactions between international countries. So we have that. Okay, I think it's stable now. That was a thing from the service provider. Now let's take the next question. It says, let's take a question on national interest. When you hear of national interest, what comes in mind? National interest. Okay, the answer is rolling in. National interest. What do we understand by national interest? Awesome. Yes, thank you very much for that. Okay, let's keep the answers popping in. Wonderful. We all have spoken well. Out of national interest. We are simply putting into consideration the goal and ambition, all right? The goals and ambitions, all right, of a country. Now, these goals and ambitions are politically related, economically related, and are related to security issues as well. Now, the government seeks to achieve for the well-being and survival of his nation by sorting out these interests. This national interest is a backbone, all right? It is a guiding principle of a nation's foreign policy, having in mind what the country primary priorities are. All right, these primary priorities are what interests this country. And like we have said, political interest, economic interest, and security interest. All right, so based on these three things, the country foreign policy is being fixed, structured, and organized within the yardstick of its interest. So we have that as that. Now let's take this question. List, all right, two approaches. List two approaches of or two approaches to foreign policy analysis. Now, talking about foreign policy analysis, I believe this is not new to us. When we talk about the foreign policy analysis, we are simply talking about the analysis that gives detailed, all right, explanation about how nations' foreign policies are being structured, implemented, and executed as well. So now let's consider some of the approaches. So just list two approaches to foreign policy analysis. Foreign policy analysis, FPA. Two approaches. Okay, awesome. Let's give the answers popping. Thank you very much for that. Yes, we have the likes of the decision-making approach, the comparative approach, the scientific behavioral approach, classical, the traditional approach, just to mention but a few. Now, what do you understand by policy analysis? All right. What do you understand by policy analysis? So we're taking this question itself. I think I said something about it already, but I just want us to talk about what it means by policy analysis. Discourse policy analysis. Also, speaking of which, talking about policy analysis, it's actually the process that is intentional about understanding the rudiments, understanding the nitty-gritty behind why certain actions, decisions are being made by the government. Actions taken by the government in international arena needs to be understood in terms of how it correlates with the resources and objective of the government. All right. By these, we are already talking about policy analysis. We said it is the interest of a country that determines its policy. All right. Who, which country this country will love to trade, interact, and exchange, all right, value, all tied down to the interests of the country in question. So now let's take the last question for tonight. Now, let's take this. Just like I said earlier, for those of us who haven't gotten the keynote yet, let's ensure to request it. It's one resource that is highly recommended for the preparation of the exam. Now, under foreign policy environment, that's what we call domestic environment. When you have domestic environment as a subtopic under foreign policy environment, what are we talking about? Discuss what you understand by domestic environment in foreign policy analysis. Domestic environment discourse. So we have our last question for tonight. Domestic environment. Okay. Yes, thank you very much for that. That was from Miss Promise. Now, when we talk about domestic environment in foreign policy analysis, we are simply considering the influence the domestic environment has on what we refer to as foreign policy analysis. Now, we said it is the nation's interest that determines the nation policies. Now, the nation interest is vague, is large. So to break it down, what makes up the nation's interest? We are talking about the citizens. We are talking about the locals. The citizens are the locals. Now, these locals determines what goes on in the country, not individually, but collectively. All right? Collective unanimous decision by these locals, this local environment, is what Tom did in economics. He talked about the micro and the macro, all right, economic activities. And we're able to establish the fact that as far as the micro is concerned, we're talking about individuals, economic decisions, household, organization. All right. Now, when we moved ahead and we talked about macro, talking about the aggregate economic activities. Now, trust me, if there are no individuals, families, household, firms, and organizations' economic activities, there will be no macroeconomic activities, in as much as little drop of water consistently and continuously will definitely fill up the drum. Decisions and demand that forms the domestic environment, which in turn, on a large scale, determines the nation's interest, which influences the policy as much as international relations is concerned. This is one thing I keep talking about when it comes to POP. It's not garbage in, garbage out like we do in CBT. You definitely need to express yourself. You need to be very logical and as much as well analytical, just to ensure you get your point across. Okay, here's what we'll call it a wrap for tonight. Thank you very much, everyone. I believe you all have been able to gain something into this class. Please let's ensure to get the keynote as intended, and most importantly, still well to put in the effort, still well to put in the work. It will definitely pay off. So on exam, you need to bag your A and just look ahead and forge ahead for other courses, not this